Welcome to Business Talk, presented in collaboration with the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, from the heart of southeastern Ohio at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Our goals are simple: promote the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, as well as advocate local small business and their support organizations. More importantly, promote southeastern Ohio as a wonderful place to live, explore, and learn. There are many different ways you can find us. The University of Rio Grande Cable Access Channel 17, live online at blogtalkradio.com, and on YouTube if you are unable to catch our show live. Introducing our co-hosts, Jason Winters, Mike Thompson, Patrick Dengel. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to Business Talk. I'm Jason Winters, your host, and I'm here today with Patrick Dengel, of course, and Mike Thompson. And we have a very special guest today, Pat.
Yes, we do. A person that runs an organization that is dear to my heart.
Well, that may be true, but she has been dear to the University of Rio Grande longer than she's been there.
Well, that's true, but she's also been involved with a number of different businesses. She's been involved with the University of Rio Grande Community College, and now she's serving in the capacity of a business organization that is just fantastic.
I'll let her talk about herself here in a little bit, but I will say that she got her undergraduate work done here at the university. She also came back and began to work on her master's degree.
Yes.
And apparently she listened to what I was saying.
Because
the very first class we had was Foundations of Entrepreneurship, and she got the bug. And about halfway through the next semester, she started building her own business.
And I think that's fantastic.
Well, it was, but she got so wrapped up in building her own business and growing her own business that she ran out of time for school.
Well, I guess there's she can always come back. We have a great MBA program.
She can always come back. But now she is an advocate for businesses in Gallia County, and it's with great pleasure that I get to introduce Michelle Miller.
Thank you.
Michelle, welcome.
Thank you.
And Michelle is the executive director of the Gallia County Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And a lot of words, but it is an organization that supports strong business communities. Mm-hmm. You know, Jason, I don't know if you know this or not, but one of the other faculty individuals is Mike Thompson. Mike had
Congratulations,
Michelle.
Mike.
What did I do now?
Mike had Michelle in video editing. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Production.
TV motion picture production.
And you were probably one of his best students. Is that not correct?
I don't know about that.
So, Michelle, why don't
She's
you,
very competent.
why don't
Thank
you
you.
start from the very beginning and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you end up as the executive director?
Oh, well, that's a very long story.
It is, but we've got a half hour.
Well, I came, here to college with the tech for the tech degree tech theater program, with the intent of going to New York City and working behind the scenes on a Broadway play and.
Eventually being the
director.
The director.
Yeah, that was my.
Well, again, there's still time.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
still
yeah.
time.
So yeah, I'm still doing it. But I'm just doing it here. But then I met my husband here, and the age-old story. Here I am. 16 years later. While I was attending school, I went back to get my bachelor's in English, and English Lit, and while I was attending school, I bought the local video store, and did both of those. So
It's my understanding that you had 2 video stores open. And this was the time when it was VHS. Now,
my first one, was VHS and the $100 tapes, and it was interesting to see the change. I was there, during the
unfortunately,
Be
does
kind and
anyone
rewind.
else remember beta tapes?
Of course.
I still have
remember them. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever watched one, but I remember them.
Well, my first video store was a beta
Okay.
store.
You had a video store?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we would take the carriage down to the street
Okay.
court by the general merchandise place.
But I never know when he's telling the truth. I really honestly just never know.
So, yeah, it's just a very long process, but everything I've learned, I feel kind of fits into this position. I was a news reporter and business owner, and
It seems like you've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, though.
I did. Well, my parents owned a store when I was younger, so it's not.
What
and I
kind
think
of store was
they
it?
had a convenient, like a small market. We lived in Virginia at the time, and I think that growing up in a family where that's an opportunity, I don't think that if you grow up around it, you even think about owning your own business. It's just not something that's ingrained necessarily. You look to work for somebody else, but I think that had a lot to do with it. They did it, so it was never a question. It was never something that was scary or.
Yeah, can I do that, or I'm going to lose everything?
Right,
or whatever?
I mean, it's a risk, but
Yeah.
It's in this day and
Calculated risk.
age. Yeah, everything's a risk, especially with layoffs that happen, and it's to me it worked into what I needed at the time.
So if you had a young class of potential business entrepreneurs who are wanting to start a business, what would be some pieces of advice based on your experience that you would give to them?
If you want to work 8 to 5 and days off, don't bother.
Amen.
I mean, that's the number one thing. If you're
But I wanted to do my own business so I could take off whenever I wanted,
you can
make
pretty
my own
much-
schedule.
You can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be your life for quite some time. I mean, you will live and breathe it. There are no days off. Even if you're closed, you're still doing other things. And if you're the type of person who they give you your syllabus or something, and you still have to be told what you need to do, then you may want to
I understand. Well,
second guess it. Well, if you don't have that ability to, off the top of your head, know that this needs to be done, it's
A self-starter.
a self-starter, and you're going to have a hard time doing it. So I mean, those were the things.
I thought she was implying the faculty members, with a syllabus, they don't work. I thought that's what
No,
I thought that's
no.
where she was going with
See,
it.
Well, they don't work
no,
about
I said-
part-time, right?
Well, they work part-time. No, but I meant, a lot
Yeah,
of
we
times.
only work 3 hours a week,
3
right?
hours a week.
3 hours when we're in class. Yeah.
No, but I mean, you get people who have to be, if you're not the type of person who can do it on your own, and you constantly have to be told what to do next, I think you're going to struggle.
Well, I think you sort of proved that in your latest business venture before you became the executive director, and that was starting an online newspaper.
Yes.
And I would
That was
venture
easy.
Yeah, that was easy.
She didn't work there either. All
No,
she
that
did-
was-
She sat in her lounge chair and
Yeah,
wrote a
right.
couple letters.
Yeah, it was a good community service, as it was. As many people kept telling me, it was a great community service.
But it really was a for-profit business.
Yes, it was. It was,
And,
yes.
At that time, let's see, it was 2 years ago when you started that?
Yeah, 2 years in November. Yeah.
And that is when many of the newspapers were considering going online.
Yeah.
And so you sort of took the opportunity to show them how it was to be done. And
I don't know if that did, but yeah.
but on the same token, where newspapers have a circulation department, they have advertisers and marketing people, they have secretaries, and who else? Who else did they have?
Reporters.
Reporters.
Copy editors.
It was
yeah.
you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you were able to put it online. You were able to answer all the different emails, write the stories, market, advertise, do the circulation. I think that's fantastic.
you.
Did you get a chance to see your family? And
No.
No.
Well, I saw them as I was saying, stop talking. I'm writing. Yeah, I didn't sleep much. But, it was,
Would you do it over again?
oh, yeah. I don't do anything again. But, yeah, I mean,
You won't do anything again. You're not going to sell tapes again.
no. But you never know. They may come back. Retro things do come back. But
I don't
no.
think that's coming back like records,
No, but
LPs are.
I would do anything again in what fits at that time. So
If only I had my 8-track back. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I would do videos and movies again if I could figure out what that next step is going to be and hit it before anybody else does.
Mike said bring them back. I thought 8 tracks were still
Still current?
current.
Oh, yeah.
You still got your disco ball up in the living room?
Yeah.
Yeah, you skipped a couple things
and
there.
my leisure suit. That's great
Yeah,
time.
now we have little mini computers called MP3 players.
But that experience that you were involved with, anything you want to share with the listening audience? Occasionally we have individuals interested in starting a newspaper or working for one.
The Gallia Herald was actually fairly easy to start. The online news site. Basically, I needed a computer and a website. I would highly recommend having somebody design said website and not trying to do it all yourself, because it looked much better after I had somebody help me. And it knocked about, going to the program that I was using, knocked about 45 minutes off every article that I put up.
Wow.
So it saved me about 5 hours a day just
Wow.
on uploading. But it was a good learning experience. When I went into it, I had never designed a website. I had never used it. I had never really done it, and I learned it all as I went. So when I got to that point of having somebody, by the time I got to the point where I could have somebody come in and help me, I knew what I wanted. I knew what worked, what didn't. When they talked to me in code, I understood it. Now I can't write it, but I had worked enough with it, because I would go on when you design websites, when you design them yourself, they do a shortcut. So you just you want the box there. Well, I took it one step further and went and looked at the code so that I knew how the code was written, and then I could go in and change the color or something because I found the word black. So I can't write it, but when they would talk about it, if they did something I didn't like, I knew where the dimensions were and stuff like that, so I could go in and just change a word. No.
There's
I
nothing
did
greater.
remove all my ads one time doing stuff like that, so you have to be careful. Trying to put a bunch of advertisements back up on every page, that was not a good
That's
moment.
when your heart falls down through.
Yeah, there was a couple of those. When there was a crash and the site was down, everybody's sites were down for 24 hours. And, there are a lot of things I could have done at that time. I could have written more. I could have, baked a pie. But no, I sat and stared at my computer for 12 hours going, come back on. So a lot of it I learned as I went. And
isn't that really nice about computer systems? They throw all this technology out, but it's really meant to only capture maybe 3 or 4% of the capabilities of the computer. You were telling us something at lunchtime. You used what is the Samsung?
Tablet, yeah.
Yeah, the tablet, and she used that for the pictures and the movies and the different videos.
Yeah, I was playing with it right before, I was working on trying to figure out a good way to do it and get a little better at it. Actually editing video to do some video on the site, since I had that capability, through the site. And I had purchased a Samsung tablet because it was in my price range, which was cheap. And and because I needed something on the go to write with. I wanted something that, I could write my articles and I could actually upload them, because I could hook up and I could upload it from wherever I was, as long as I had internet. And so I tried out the video camera part of it, and I tried out the camera, and I ended up doing a video montage of the fair, all with that tablet. So it was really neat. I mean, of course, everybody made fun of me because, you're just standing there and you have this big square in front of your face. But, it worked just as well. Now, you couldn't zoom in or anything like that. I mean, that doesn't work. But if you're right there, it worked.
Yeah, and some of the latest technology now allows you to zoom
more
in.
Mobile and, and just little things, like even for smaller, for me, if, I brought the connection on my phone and can connect, as long as I had a 3G or 4G connect, I could upload to my website. So it's not like it was before, where you needed the truck with the big satellite, and so there's a lot of opportunities out there for.
So let's see, you've taken advantage of the technology, you've taken advantage of opportunities in selling. One of the customers appear to be the most important part of the business, and I would venture to say that you've met many different kinds of of really great people who have been involved in not only Gallia County but statewide and
nationwide.
I remember at one annual Gallia County Chamber of Commerce dinner, you were there talking with some of the candidates that were interested in running for some of the state and the federal.
Probably did. I don't remember it, but I probably did.
And so you've had a chance to meet with a lot of people, especially with an online newspaper. And any words of wisdom you want to share about working with people?
I think you have to be comfortable with it. First of all, talking to strangers, and I do better. My personality, I do better one-on-one than I do in front of a group. I'm not as good of a public speaker, but I can one-on-one talk to just about anybody, and it's knowing what you want from them, and trust is a big thing, and that's very hard to build up in the media world. I had already had that there for the most part locally, so it would have taken me a lot longer to get there had I not already worked for a local newspaper, and those same players were still in play when I started mine.
Michelle, how hard was it, though, to take your personal opinions out of a lot of the stories?
Oh, it can be.
I'm thinking about you're dealing with the public, and you're sitting here and you're listening to someone speak, and you're thinking in the back of your mind,
really?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that is hard, and I don't think the media as a whole does that anymore. I did, and it is very hard to stay,
neutral,
completely neutral on the situation, and it's not common practice anymore. And
news is not opinion.
Well,
despite what others might think,
but
it's fair and objective.
But and that's the thing is it made it really hard for me to try to stay that route, because everybody else was reporting from an opinion side and I was trying not to. So sometimes it was drier, it was just straightforward, and I didn't try to sway the public's opinion one way or the other, and I think that the best way that I viewed the media, and I still do, and I told a person this, I said, it's not my job to fight your battles for you. It's my job to cover you fighting your own battles. And we don't do that anymore. People expect the media to fight it for them. And I got calls after call after call, write about this. I'm like, show up to a meeting and I'll write about you, right? Talking about this, and I don't know if it's always been that way or if that's just the change, but that's...
I think a number of us are seeing the need to get back to journalism, and not yellow journalism.
Right.
And you probably didn't do any investigative stuff, did you?
I didn't do much, and that was just because it's not that I don't like to do that, and I don't think people realize, I would always get people who send me anonymous things and, stuff like that.
She didn't have time for stakeouts.
I didn't have time it takes, a good investigative, piece, if you're doing it, right.
It could take weeks and
months to get the backup, and that's, people would like to send me one anonymous piece of, and I got them anonymously. It's like, my name goes on it. So if I write it,
yes.
I don't get the privilege, or I don't get to send it to somebody anonymously or post it anonymously. When it gets written, my name is on it. So if I'm going to ruin somebody's life, then there's going to be a reason that I did it, and it's not just going to be because you sent me one anonymous piece of paper.
You could ask Mr. Anonymous, will you go on record about that?
I've done that, and that's why I get them anonymous. I've had them left on my car. I had stuff left on my car, and
Interesting.
Have you ever had anybody irritated with what you did and have a bad note left on your card or something?
Not bad note left on my card. They
took part of the windshield with them,
Yeah. They'll. I've had some.
I'll get you and your little dog too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I didn't. There wasn't very many ways you could contact me anonymously.
Yeah. Not in this world.
And that was it. They're like, well, how are we supposed to? It's like, it is, if you feel that strongly enough to fight about it or fight for it, then you feel that strongly enough to put your name to it. And,
Right.
But most don't.
But most don't. They wanted me to do it, and I think the media needs to step away from that.
There's enough drama in the world without adding to it.
And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, I mean, there was a saying that I'd been taught, and I think it was actually maybe Kevin Kelly who taught, but it may not have been, though. Somewhere we picked up in the media that if both sides are mad at you, you've done something right.
Yeah.
So
Because there's 3 sides to every story, you know that.
Right.
There's her side, there's his side, and there's the truth.
right.
Right
And that's
side.
what I mean, and you find that out, that it's not always what that one paper says. There's all kinds of in between, and trying to do investigative journalism as a one-person show, it wasn't going to happen.
So sort of recapping, number one, you have a very loving family, 2 children,
Yes.
a loving husband, 16 years. You've had a lot of experience in building businesses. You've had a lot of experience in meeting with customers and dealing with various different sides while maintaining integrity. You've been an excellent student from what Jason and Mike told me privately. You've had a well-balanced career, and you come from a family that's a business owner. No wonder the Gallia County Chamber of Commerce found that you were a perfect fit as executive director.
I hope so.
Well, and Pat, I think what it amounts to is they really had to find somebody for that position who worked harder than their best volunteer.
Yes, and down at the Chamber of Commerce, they have one of the best volunteers.
She works
Miss Marianne
40
works 40 plus hours a week.
Yes, yes.
I depend a lot on her, and
Well,
I actually had a conversation with her about a week or so ago, and I asked how you were doing, and she gave you rave reviews. I mean, she just absolutely loves working with you and bouncing ideas.
well, I worked there before, and
Right.
as administrative assistant, and I love Marianne.
What tell us about who works down at the chamber?
Miranda is full-time administrative assistant, Miranda Johnson, and so and we're it took some time for us to, given the circumstances that, but we're finally, I think, all kind of we're finding our team mode there. So, but she's great. I mean, and I have a lot of respect for her. She held the fort down during a very trying time. So. And then Miss Marianne she's always there. Sometimes she's there before we get there and after we leave. I mean, I have the utmost respect for Marianne. So.
And your board members, you've had a variety of really good board members. Kyla Carpenter just recently stepped down, and her title now is
Immediate past president.
And now who do we have as president?
Brian Long. He's the president. Buckeye Rural Electric is the business that he works through. So.
Wasn't he a classmate of yours when you started the MBA program?
Was he in? I don't think.
No.
Okay.
He was in the program, but not while Michelle was
Okay,
there.
I thought it
okay.
was. Yeah, I didn't.
There
think it
wasn't
was-
room for both of them in the same class.
Yeah, that's.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, but because both
Yeah.
of Brian he was a super good guy. As a matter of fact, he helped host some of the
He
shows.
still is.
Yeah.
You said was.
Oh.
Yeah. He's
Like-
just
like
gone
it was
down
a
the
change.
tube since he got involved with the chamber.
Well, he used to be involved with some of the early blog talk shows.
Okay.
And he's just super nice guy. And some of the other board members have been very supportive of you.
They all have been. I mean, and even the chamber members, and I've not run into anybody who hasn't been supportive. The CCEO, which is the chamber executives of Ohio.
So what are some of the things the chamber's into right now?
We changed the entire membership structure, so it completely changed this year, which they had been working on. And when how it is when you first start, you don't have all the all the emails coming in yet. Nobody really knows you're there yet. So I had time to work on that. It gets more difficult as you go on.
Sure.
You get
What
more
changes
meetings.
are there in the structure?
It went from it used to be based on the type of business you were and the number of employees. and then all year long we asked you for more money. I mean, sponsorships and stuff like that. So now, instead of that, it's a 5-tier. So it goes from basic to clear up to the platinum level. And then you get sponsorships are included now, ads on the news site, ads, just different levels as you go up.
So different levels of service.
Based on, and then
rather than a basic thing and then trying to
add stuff throughout. So, and you can still add things. It's just it all is incorporated in the one cost now. So I think it really drives. It has always been that you get out of the chamber what you put into the chamber. It's whether it's monetarily or just coming to things or showing up. Coming to the First Fridays and networking. And I think this kind of falls within that is, if all you want's the basic out of it, then there's a basic. But if you want more and you want your name out there and you want this and that.
Well, there are some small businesses that can only afford the basic right now. So that's really good.
Well, and I can tell you as one of the smaller businesses, this would have been a good thing for me because, like you said, you may only be able to afford the basic for what you got out of it, which was just membership. And I fell into the same category as all news media. So my cost was based on that. And so, this would have allowed me to choose.
I've had several individuals question why you need to pay membership dues.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people get the impression that it is a government-sponsored organization, and it's really not. It's a
private organization,
nonprofit,
private nonprofit.
And you have to run your business. You have to run that business like any other particular business. And obviously, if some members come in, they want to be warm when it's real cold outside.
Right.
So someone has to pay those heating bills, and that's the reason for membership dues.
Yes.
And what else do the memberships dues?
Well, it allows us to, we print the monthly newsletter. We have the website. I mean, that websites aren't free, All of that is geared toward giving the community members one place to go where they can look for local business. So, all of that has a cost to it. And some of it's extra. Advertising on our website, sponsoring things, River Recreation Festival, Chili Fest. Those are fundraisers for the chamber, but at the same time, if you're sponsoring something, you get your name out there, and so there's a cost to everything.
Yes.
There's no such thing as anything that's free.
So is Chili Fest coming back for next year?
That's the plan.
Okay.
And the Chili Fest does what?
It's a chili competition, a cook-off competition. I don't know how many years now, maybe 8 or 9. It's fairly new. So
if I got 6 cans of Skyline chili, I could enter.
I better not.
You could.
Yeah, you got to cook it.
That would be copyright infringement, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, plus you got to cook it on. Well, you did. Now I've got to double check and make sure I'm right, and that's how it still is. But you had to cook it on.
On site for that day.
For that day, yeah.
I understand it's a great time for many individuals. Some would-be chefs come out, and it's really a fun time. It's down at the city park.
It's laid back and just kind of everybody hangs out and eats chili all day, I think, or in the afternoon. But
and I know that you've been setting up the calendar in the River Recreation Festival.
It's been scheduled for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th this year.
And I know that's a fun time for many individuals. They thoroughly enjoy coming and seeing Gallipolis. So the chamber seems to be involved in a number of different programs.
Yeah, and we're working on with me just coming out of the background that I did, I'm working on making changes to the website and getting it updated and more presence on Facebook, more presence on Twitter and stuff like that. But we are involved in different aspects.
No, and just not Gallia County, but with the state. I know that you're on first name basis with many of the representatives, both in the state of Ohio and
Yes, and federal. So.
in the federal government. But I haven't heard you mention yet going over to the Olympics over in Russia.
No,
No.
I haven't done that yet.
She likes the cold weather, so she's staying right here.
Yeah, I know it's probably colder here.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Today's show had it 60 degrees in Sochi.
Really? Yeah.
Wow.
See,
It
that's
was
just-
0 in my barn this morning.
So you've come with a lot of background in being with people, talking with people, meeting with people, helping them with their expectations. Any words of wisdom you want to share to the listening audience about why it's important to start being involved with the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, I think, and people who have heard this before, but I think business is a community, and if people start realizing that, a lot of times people get wrapped up in the competition, but there's a reason why malls are as successful as they are, and shopping centers. It's because the more businesses you have in one place who are working at the same level, the more chance you have of more people coming in. So the chamber is kind of, the website, the building. We get calls all the time about when people are open, and and that's the point, is to give. In this day and age, everybody's on their cell phones looking up your information, and they use our website to funnel into local business.
It is a good
And
website.
there's a lot of resources. I mean, we have discount programs with workers' comp and auto, and that your business might be eligible for just, and that can be a lot of savings. I mean, for especially the bigger businesses. There's
And you're also connected into mentors for start of new
Yeah.
businesses. There are probably some mentors out there.
Oh yeah, he's talking to us. But we partner with OSU South Centers, and we partner with university. We partner with numerous people that if somebody calls in and they say, this is what we're looking at, we're able to get them to the right people without having to do the runaround, which usually happens. And we partner locally with economic development and the visitor center, and so it's like the chamber is a hub of it, and
And we're looking at one of the smaller hubs within the hub.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we're out of time.
Yes.
I think we've been out of time.
Michelle, thank you very much. We are recording YouTube, and they also give us a couple extra minutes on the radio. So you're one of the few shows that we didn't immediately stop the guests from talking.
Well, I didn't do all the talking.
But thank you very much
Yeah,
for
thank you.
for being a part of the Gallia County community, being a part of many of our lives.
I
And
appreciate
maybe in
it.
a couple months, when you start working on River Rec and you get that scheduled done, you'll come back and share that with our listeners.
I can do that.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jason.
I'm Michelle.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
listening.
for listening.